I want to give you the floor on the Knicks. What do you think? What do you think about the Knicks right now, Ben?
It's not good right now. I think it's not good right now because it's a mess. Now the season's basically, on the downswing. So I don't think, I think any hope of the play in is I don't feel like that's realistic. I don't know if you do or not. But as a team, they're just, they're, I think, rudderless. I'm saying generalities here. But
it's just
last year was so amazing. It's been a big letdown this year.
Yeah, the big mystery is Julius Randle. First of all, wearing Bernard King's number is just weird to me. But him last year being emblematic of the city and the gritty comeback and a great story, and then this year, doing the thumbs down and stuff. It's just been weird, It's just been It's been a little weird with him. And
I think it's a very tough environment. Obviously, playing in New York, and it's so up and down, and it happens very quickly. And he had such an amazing year last year that there was so much expectation. And how people react, I don't know how you deal with that, but you have to, figure out some way to deal with it as a player in New York. I think the fans want to rally around him and the team, but it's, right before the All-Star break, he had a run of 5 or 6 games where he was playing like he played last year. But the consistency hasn't been there, and who knows? How they can do it at that level consistently, but the consistency thing for the entire team. It's just been one day, and lately it's totally gone away. But it used to be earlier, even in the season, that one day they'd show up and they were playing great, and then the next day it would be back to on awful games. And that's what's so infuriating for the fans. You just want to give us a little consistency.
Who was your Nick growing up? Who was the guy?
I was around as an 8-year-old. When in '73, so I kind of remember that team. But for me, Bernard King was definitely my guy. And then there was, Mike Glenn off the bench, singer.
I remember him.
I was a big Mike Glenn fan, and I was always shouting to put Glenn in. I'd go to games with my dad, and I'd be shouting at Holtzman, put Glenn in.
Did he listen? Did he hear you?
He did not. Every once in a while, my dad always would be when he would put him in, he's he listened to you, he put him in. But he was an amazing shooter. And imagine Mike Glenn in today's 3-point game, he would have been pretty impactful.
I remember that. Mike Glenn, he was a precursor to Trent Tucker, right, back in the day. The old Trent.
Yep.
Bernard was my guy too, Ben. One of my favorite New York athletes of all time. Absolutely loved him. Oh God.
Yeah, and I don't know if people remember, but he had an amazing comeback from an injury. Where he literally was out, and he came back, and he ended up playing in an All-Star game, and had a short but great career in New York.
Could you imagine if him and Ewing actually were healthy together for a long time? That would have been the stuff. That would have been the stuff, man. Hey, Ben.
It's been too long. It's been too long with the Knicks.
I agree.
It's been a really long stretch.
I agree. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.